loudly chanting, Hari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivada Dhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivada Dhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivada Dhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivadadhari Jasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Nandana Braja Jana Jasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivadadhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivadadhari Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Astatarasatasi Srimadis Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Gaura Premanandi. Guess what? Bhagavad Gita. Surprise. But you're in for a surprise. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Ready? First question. When Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, did the battle of Kurukshetra begin the same day that Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita? Who said no? What's the answer? When Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, I'm listening. No, you gotta know. I've got a yes. Okay. We'll go backwards. Here's another question. When did Grandfather Bhishma depart? Bhishma Astami, right? Bhishma Astami. Bhishma Astami. According to Mahabharata, Bhishma says on Bhishma Astami, doesn't say in Bhishma Astami, but it says, for 58 nights, not just days, 58 nights, I've been lying on this battlefield in pain with all these arrows in my body. So, count backwards, try it. I've done it like 28 times. Count backwards from Bhishma Astami, and where the 58 count back 58, it's the dark moon night of the prior month. And next, Grandfather Bhishma was lying on his bed of arrows how many days into the Kurukshetra battle? 10. On the 10th day, so you have to listen carefully because it's got math and all those things. Count backwards from Bhishma Astami to the day, the 10th day of the Kurukshetra battle, and then count back another 10 days, and that's when the Battle of Kurukshetra began. According to Mahabharata, Anushasana Parva, according to Mahabharata, Krishna says to Karna, in 7 days on the new moon day, the battle will begin. You with me? Bhagavad Gita was spoken, my understanding is, Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the morning, and after Bhagavad Gita was spoken, the war began. Because the war began not before Bhagavad Gita was, not after Bhagavad Gita was spoken, it was before Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Let's do it again. We're in for a surprise. Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the dark moon, not on the Mokshada Ekadasi. I'll say it again. The Battle of Kurukshetra began on the new moon, and that day Bhagavad Gita was spoken before the battle began. The battle began on the new moon, and Bhagavad Gita was spoken before the battle began. That's a no-brainer. And the battle began on the new moon, dark moon. And count 10 days, that's when Bhishma was lying on the bed of arrows. And you go to, there's a little document, you'll all like it or not like it, I don't know. But it's what Mahabharata says, that Bhishma says, because Yudhishthira, so many things happened. One of the things that happened is, after the battle, Yudhishthira and the Pandavas went back, and he was once again crowned the emperor. Because way back, those of you that like Bhagavatam and or Mahabharata, he was already the emperor of the world. How did that happen? The Rajasuya Yagya. Raja Suya Yagya. I hope you like reading Prabhupada's books, because what I'm saying now it'll be impetus for some people to, what did he say? Let me go read what. So, go to the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, and Krishna is in Dwarka, and two messengers come. One messenger comes from Yudhisthira, and Yudhisthira is requesting Krishna to come to Indraprastha to take part in the Rajasuya Yagya. Yes? Yes. And the Rajasuya Yagya means he's the emperor. It's a yagya to commemorate the emperor. Krishna doesn't say yes or no, he doesn't answer. Then another messenger comes. The other messenger, around the same time, that in the public assembly, it's a public assembly. Here comes a messenger from kings that were imprisoned by Jarasandha, that fellow. And the messenger from the kings was, help, help, rescue us from the prison of Jarasandha. So what did Krishna do? He turned to Uddhava. Uddhava, what should I do? As if Krishna needs someone to tell him what to do, right? He's giving devotees, his eternal associates, some service. What should I do? Uddhava gives wise advice. You should kill Jarasandha first, because to perform the Rajasuya, all opposing kings have to be defeated. If there's an opposing king, Jarasandha is not going to surrender to Yudhisthira, no way. So you have to kill Jarasandha first, and then the Rajasuya. You with me? We haven't even gotten to Bhagavad Gita yet. But, Bhagavad Gita wasn't spoken on Moksha Ekadasi. So there. But we celebrated on Moksha Ekadasi, so why are we celebrating on Moksha Ekadasi? And how come nobody ever said this? I've been a devotee, as you heard, for 56 years. I never heard it before. Guess what? Gita Jayanti. You look at our calendar, Vaishnava calendar, the advent of Bhagavad Gita. Coming up on Wednesday. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. He didn't speak Bhagavad Gita on Moksha Ekadasi. Now, how did it go from when he did speak to Moksha Ekadasi? That's a good question. The little document that you're going to see, at least one Vaishnava scholar has the opinion, it's not like slam dunk, but it's an opinion, that honoring Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita, an auspicious day was selected. And Ekadasi is a very auspicious day. Let's celebrate let's celebrate Gita Jayanti on the Ekadasi day. Even though 67 days before that was when it was spoken. Well, you read the document. Then you can look up the references. What's this guy talking about? I thought he was supposed to be a sannyasi. He's mucking around and telling us all this stuff. Read Mahabharata. Read the references. It's very clear. If somebody has a different view, personally share it with Yoko Kishore, and he can share it with me. And because one of the persons I asked was like, "What?" was Krishna Dharma. You know who is Krishna Dharma? Most of you know who is Krishna Dharma. He wrote the Mahabharata Retold or something like that. He's like very knowledgeable in Mahabharata, and I asked him, check out this document. Tell me what you think. Is it goofy or is it correct? And he said, very polite. He's British, He's very polite. And said, yes, it's confusing. And the points that you bring out, I agree with. And how did it become Moksha Ekadasi? And here's a reference, and it's in this little document you get. It's at Quora.com. I don't know about that place. And the opinion is, it was changed, and it just got accepted over the period of time to honor Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita on an auspicious day. It's not like Krishna does anything. He doesn't need an auspicious day to do anything. He can lift Govardhan Hill anytime he wants. Or, observe Gopastami anytime he wants. He can do anything he wants. He doesn't need an auspicious day to do anything he wants. But it's honored on an auspicious day. That's the point of view. I can't say I wasn't around when the circumstance became what it is today. And in the world today, what I'm saying is revolutionary. Without guns. Just Mahabharata. So, Wednesday is Gita Jayanti. And we'll honor what we see on the screen. Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And whether it happened on this day or that day, we're going to honor it on Gita Jayanti. It's an auspicious day with all the rest of the world. At least most of the rest of the world. Those that are adherents to Bhagavad Gita. So I wanted to speak this evening on a few verses from chapter 13. Why chapter 13? Well, there's several reasons, and I'll do like a mini. I think there's some. I was looking around the room when chanting Jai Radha Madhava, and one of the ways to find out who's new is they don't know the words to Jai Radha Madhava. So normally I show the words because there's usually people that don't know. But I looked at this assembly and I thought everybody knows. But not everybody knows, so there's some new people here. So for those of you who are in the category of a new person, a little bit of the structure of Bhagavad Gita. Mini. Huh? Technology's great when it works. And it doesn't always work. Have you noticed? Okay, so I'll just keep speaking. We'll do some lights flashing and so forth. Okay. Okay, Bhagavad Gita. How far back to go? I'll go back a little bit. Both Krishna and Balaram, this is a war between cousins. And Krishna and Balaram are cousins with both sides. So Balaram went on pilgrimage. I'm not going to be around when this battle's going on. Krishna came and tried to make a peace settlement. Now, Krishna wanted the war. Krishna wanted the war. He planned it. He made arrangements so it would happen. What's one of those arrangements? At the Rajasuya Yagya, there was a big festival. This is in Indraprastha, because I mentioned it already. You with me, Indraprastha? You know what Indraprastha is? I'm looking at this young man. The Kauravas were in the capital. They were given this place in the forest. You can live over there.
Okay, yeah, yep.
Okay.
They turned it this extreme opposite.
Yes. Arjuna saved the life of Mayadanava. It's a detail. And Mayadanava, mystical Mayadanava, said, I'm grateful you saved my life. Please let me do some service for you. Arjuna said, no, it's my duty to protect. Krishna said, take some service from him. He can build a palace for your brothers to live in this forest in Indraprastha. And he's got mystic powers. It's going to be a super palace. Okay, for my brothers, not for me. So he built a palace. And then they had this, had a big shebang, a big festival. Duryodhana, you know who's Duryodhana? Yeah. Duryodhana came, and it's a kind of a mystical place where land looks like water, water looks like land. So he was walking to join them, and he fell into a lake, a pond. And the devotees started laughing. Krishna's queens, who were there for the big festival, they started laughing. Yudhisthira, the elder, virtuous Yudhisthira, he said, stop laughing, it's not nice. And Krishna said, laugh, laugh, laugh. Why? Because he wanted Duryodhana to go, I'm going to get back. I mean, it's part of Krishna's plan. Why did Krishna come into the material world? One of the reasons, there's different reasons. Pritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma sangstapanartaya. So he came to eliminate from this planet the wicked kings. And one of those wicked kings was Duryodhana. And all those fellows that lined up with him. He had a big army. And they were behind a bad guy, like diabolical, multi-attempted murderer guy. He's a bad guy, etc., etc., etc. So Krishna came to eliminate such people. He wanted the war. And then when the war is about to happen, Arjuna's like, no, chapter 1, Bhagavad Gita. This reason, that reason, virtue. On this side, there's my grandfather. Our father died when I was 15 years old. And he raised us. He was our father. He's our grandfather. I can't kill him. And over there's my military teacher. I can't kill my teacher. I can't kill my teacher. And then my cousins and so, he had virtuous reasons. You listen to his arguments, they sound like, yeah, don't do this. But Krishna wanted it. And then when he understood that Krishna wanted it, he was perplexed. He was, you have the whole story, chapter 1, he dropped his bow, I shall not fight. Better that they kill me unarmed than I, and all these nice things. Then comes chapter 2. This is the Bhagavad Gita overview, by the way. Chapter 2. Systems of yoga in the next 5 chapters. Starting with, you're not the body. Arjuna, you're lamenting for that which is not worthy of grief. The wise never lament over the temporary, the body. But you're the eternal soul. And Sankhya philosophy, spirit and matter. And then the controller of both. Really nice, really simple, like ABC. You have to start with ABC before you can spell and do composition. So Sankhya philosophy, the second half of chapter 2 is Buddha Yoga. Krishna says, you can look it up later, 2.39. Thus far I've described Sankhya, now I'm going to describe Buddhi. Like, how do you live your life according to Sankhya? It takes intelligence. Small thing. And here's the path of intelligence, Buddha Yoga. That's the end of chapter 2. Chapter 3, Yabat. One who is attached can't do that, it's too high. Therefore, releasing oneself from the bondage of attachment to the fruits of work. Because connected to I is mine. I, aham, and mama, aham mameti. So working, chapter 3, Bhagavad Gita, just keeping it really simple. Karma pala tyag. Do your activities without attachment to the pala, the fruit. And what do you do with the fruit? Because when you work, there's a result. What do you do with the result? Offer to the Supreme. Karma Yoga, chapter 3. Not bad. Look, we're halfway through the first 6 chapters. And when you do that, as one becomes accomplished at Karma Yoga, that is, working with detachment, then this little light goes on that says, I'd like to know more about who I really am, not just who I'm not. So, Gyan Yoga. Those who want to perform Gyan Yoga, they need to do Karma Yoga first. Because if you're attached to your work, you can't get to first base. Gyan Yoga, chapter 4. Transcendental knowledge, chapter 4, Bhagavad Gita. Through disciplic succession, chapter 4. And when that becomes more accomplished, then again Krishna circles back to Karma Yoga added with Gyan Yoga. And then Dhyan Yoga. And then Bhakti Yoga. The end of chapter 6. The topmost of all, the Uttama form of yoga is Bhakti. That we just did the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Wasn't it nice? And then the middle 6. And now I'm going to explain to you the how-to. So middle 6 is Bhakti Yoga. How-to. And now it's chapter 13. Chapter 13 is going back to you're not the body, or matter, spirit, and the controller of both. And it's a graduate study. There was the undergraduate study, chapter 2. Now we're going to go to graduate study, chapter 13. And the title, in all of these, this is Prabhupada's translation of the title. The title is more detailed, but it has to do with Prakriti, Purusha, and consciousness. Prakriti, so nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. And if one tries to be an enjoyer, circling back to the earlier parts of Bhagavad Gita, if one tries to be an enjoyer of material nature, what happens? By design, it's not a place of happiness. Dukkalayam ashashvatam. Chapter 2. Dukkha is a place of dukkha, not a place of sukha. How do you enjoy happiness in a place that's a place of dukkha? How do you find water in a desert? By definition, a desert's a place without water. Find water? Mirage. That's what water in the desert is. It's mirage. There's no such thing. Otherwise, it's not a desert. This place is a place of dukkha. And whether it's dukkha or the appearance of sukha, it's ashashvatam, it's temporary. So, in this world, it's a place of duality. Krishna is indicating in chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita, right off, tolerate duality, because it's the nature of the place. There's happiness and there's distress. There's honor and there's dishonor. It's winter and summer season. Check it out. It's winter season. Pretend that it's summer season. No way. It's winter season. You know, it's not snowing out. But wait a while. I'm sure it's going to come. This is Detroit. It's a place of duality. So in a place of duality, when even that which appears to be happiness is distress. Why? It appears to be happiness because it entices one to continue on the path of trying to be the enjoyer. Here's Prabhupada speaking, I remember this very clearly. Henry Street, Brooklyn, probably the summer, hot summer, July 2000, excuse me, 1972. Prabhupada saying, Maya is calling, beckoning, that he moved his arm. Come on and enjoy me. Come on and enjoy me so I can kick you in the face. That's Maya. You know, the threefold miseries. I was at a University of Austin, no, forget which place. So there was a really nice young man. He hadn't read Prabhupada's books, but he was a thoughtful individual. And he was asking, one of the slides spoke about the threefold miseries. When Sanatana Goswami, I haven't even gotten to Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 yet. Help me, Krishna. Sanatana Goswami, good, Sanatana Goswami. Do you know who is Sanatana Goswami? Is he, yes? No? Oh. You're brand new. You were the one of the ones that wasn't chanting Jai Radha Madhava. It's okay, but you were clapping. You were just like, okay. Lord Chaitanya? No. Krishna. Yeah. So Krishna, when Krishna departed, there was a little juncture between the previous age when Krishna was present and the next age, this one. It's called Kali Yuga. And at the beginning, towards the very beginning of Kali Yuga, Krishna came again, disguised, or in the form of his own devotee to teach how to take shelter of him. That's Lord Chaitanya. And in one of the main ways is chanting. And teachings, both. Chanting and teachings. And distributing ecstatic devotion through his own example and with his associates and so forth. And one of those principal associates was a very, that was 4 varies, high person in the government. And he left the government post because he just didn't want to have anything to do with that stuff. He wanted Lord Chaitanya's association. There's details and details, but when he finally got Lord Chaitanya's association, Prime Minister of 1/3 of India at the time, like super guy, he fell at his feet with straw in his teeth as a sign of humility, clasped his feet and asked him 2 questions. Who am I? And why do I have to suffer the threefold miseries? So this student asked, what's the threefold miseries? So here's an answer. The miseries that are caused by other living entities, sometimes that happens. Miseries of the body and the mind, so internal, external, and material nature. Sometimes, an earthquake, tornado, big snowstorm, and too much heat, and too much something. Miseries, it's just of the nature of this place. There's miseries in 3 categories. But our own body and mind, we don't have to have somebody else cause us trouble. The body gives us trouble. Their mind gives us trouble. Old age, disease, and death gives us trouble, invariably. Miseries caused by other living entity. It can just be mosquito, or it can be, you name it. But it's just part of having life in the material world. I don't want these things, but they come. And then natural disturbances, they come. So how do we, why, the question he was asking was, why? Why do I have to, I don't want these things. Why do I have to accept these things? So here's the next slide. Who's the enjoyer anyway? So now we're going to go into, finally we made it, chapter 13. And those of you that know the Sanskrit, you can chant it responsively. We'll say that we'll go through the meaning of these words. So we're going to cover 2 verses. Karya karna kartritve heto prakritir uchate purushak sukha dukhanam bhoktritve hetur uchate. For those of you a little newer, you heard me say already, sukha and dukkha. We want sukha, happiness. But when you go, you strive for happiness. You strive for happiness, you get the other because it's a place of duality. So there's the dukkha. Happiness, distress. Place of duality. And the word that follows that is bhoktritve. Bhoktritve means you try to be the enjoyer. Try to be the enjoyer of material nature, and you get punched in the nose. Come on and enjoy me. Come on and enjoy me, so I can kick you in the face. Prabhupada then gave the example of a donkey. And I've not seen it, but he described it. When the male tries to approach the female, she kicks the male in the face with her hind legs. And somehow or other, they mate anyways. Come on and enjoy me. Like a prostitute. Come on and enjoy me. It's Maya, it's illusion. So back to the beginning part. Karya indicates cause. And karna is grammar. It's that which is caused. The cause and the effect of the cause. It's grammar. Kartritve. Hetu. Hetu means is the principle that brings about events in this world. It's living entities. Living entities. Nature is the cause. Prakriti. See the second line? Prakriti. Prakriti, material nature, is said to be the cause, the karya, of all material causes and effects. Material nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity, this is analysis of matter and spirit. And then there's the living entity. We are living entities in the category of spirit. Not the same as material nature. Whereas the living entity is the cause of various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. We're the architect of our destiny. That's a nice way of saying the same thing. Good and bad happen. Why good and bad happen? Because we make proper choices and we make improper choices. We exercise free will properly, we exercise free will improperly. And in the place of duality, it's sometimes going to be sometimes up and sometimes down, even you're good, because it's a place of duality. This is Krishna explaining that this is the graduate study of chapter 2. It's my way of thinking of what Krishna is doing. And it's connected, this is text 21, and now we're going to move swiftly to verse 22. Chant responsively. Purushak prakriti stohi bhunkte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sad asadyoni janmaso. So the Purusha is kind of like the tongue-in-cheek Purusha, because there's actually one Purusha. That's the source of everything. We're little imitation Purushas. We're imitating the one who is actually the Purusha. The Purusha means enjoyer. So imitation Purushas, that's us, the living entity. Prakriti stha. Stha means situated in. Situated in material nature. The living entity is situated in material nature. Thus, he, bhunkte. I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy. And what do I want to enjoy? 3 modes of material nature. Material nature, but I can't get around it. There's different modes. Goodness, passion, ignorance. So one likes it this way. One man's food is another man's poison, as the saying goes. Those of you that aren't from America, you won't know this one, but those of you that are from America, you know this one. Some like it hot, some like it cold, some like it in the pot 3 days old. You've heard that one? Yeah. No?
Is that from the nursery rhyme?
Okay. Like it in the pot 3 days old, that's mode of ignorance, by the way. And some like it hot, some like it cold. Some like it in the pot. So there's different modes of nature. 3. And according to Bhagavad Gita, this is going back, there's a whole chapter on modes of nature, a whole chapter. And so trying to enjoy material nature means you have to take from the menu the 3 modes, or mixing of the 3 modes. And when you try to become the enjoyer within those 3, the guna sangha, you create good fortune, ill fortune, or good and evil. Here's a nice little illustration. Here's some graphics. Downstairs on the stage, there's 2 guys. They're having a duel over the maiden. Who's going to get the maiden? And they both think that they're doing stuff, but there's some good and evil up above them. You can tell from the way they're characterized in this painting. The evil guy is over on our right. Look at that face on the moon. And on the left, that's the sun. And he's smiling. And so, good and evil are at odds with each other all the time. And we're not just making, we make choices, but we're also subject to previous choices that we've made. There's impetus to go in the direction of goodness as opposed to evil. And you do the evil and there's a tendency. I like telling stories, but because I've already told too many stories, I'm not going to go to tell stories. I'll tell one. Prabhupada tells the story of a thief that went on pilgrimage with some sadhus to a holy place. But he was a thief. He wanted purification, to be with the sadhus, holy men, and go to a holy place with holy men. But he's a thief. He is like compulsive thief. So when they're all asleep, he didn't take stuff from their backpack. He just kind of moved things around and moved things around and moved things around and moved things around. So when they woke up in the morning, they couldn't find their stuff. And they were like, what happened? What happened? So he confessed, I'm a thief. I didn't take anything, but it's just compulsion. But I have respect. We're in a holy place with sadhus, so but tendencies that are in have a tendency to come out. They can be corrected, but not just by tightening, the tourniquet. It's by purification. The elevation of consciousness can relieve one from this struggle of good and evil. And indicating which direction we have a tendency to move in has very much to do with the modes of nature. So let's do this. It looks like we don't really have any free will. Looks like we think we have free will. One guy is the manager, the other guy's the worker, and he's telling the worker how to do his work. And he's thinking, I'm the big guy. And the other one is thinking, I'm the worker. And they're both controlled. So is there free will? The answer is yes. But there's a limit. Make 2 points. Those of you, many of you are from India, so you know this one. I've seen it. In villages, many villagers have a cow, and they take the cow out to a field, and they have a rope around the cow, and then a stake on the other end. They put the stake down, and that's it for the day. And the cow has that much boundary, but they can't go beyond because they got a rope around and a stake. So according to the modes of nature, mode of goodness gives you more freedom. Mode of passion is a shorter rope. Mode of ignorance, a really short rope. Some rope. There's some free will you can move within a certain boundary. But you're not free. You're bound. There's choices. I can eat grass over here or eat grass over there. But there's limit. Like that, living entities have free will, and that's indicated by the modes of nature. The mode of goodness, more freedom. Mode of passion, less freedom. Mode of ignorance, much less freedom. But then there's a place where there's no bondage, no rope. And what's that? That's yoga, or linking with the Supreme. When you link with the Supreme, you're no longer in the modes of nature. That's good news. That's good news. How do you get there? Sounds nice. How do you get there? Yoga. And then there's systems of yoga. That's the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So here's the deities, presiding deities of the 3 modes. And so above those 3 ladies in the previous picture, there's the presiding deities. They do what the presiding deities say. And then we do what the modes of nature say, largely. There's some freedom, but largely. And in addition to the modes of nature, there's karma. I don't like to. I'm tempted to not speak about it, but there's so much violence like this. How many eating places in the world today are, burger places and chicken places? And who thinks about this? But the image, the one who does the butchering gets chopped too. Why is there so much violence? Because there's so much violence. There's the consequences for violence. So you get violence. You don't want the violence. You want the enjoyment. You have to make wise choices. That's not a wise choice. Karma. And then you go to good karma, but there's also bondage for the good karma. Here's another nice painting. I'm almost done. Isn't that good news? This is a BBT painting showing going downwards. You can't read it because the letters are too small. But lust, greed, anger, envy, so forth. Those are those are emotions that arise from the tendency to be the enjoyer, and you feel frustrated. Or you want to be the enjoyer, so there's lust. Or you have something and it's not enough, it becomes greed. It's the modes of nature acting. And then on the mind and the heart. And it leads downward. Aho gachanti tamasar. Then this other, madhye tishtanti rajasa, that's the middle stage is entertainment. A little bit of piety, not too much, a little bit of piety, then I get fruits of piety. And I want to be the enjoyer of the fruits of piety. Karma. Work, enjoy the fruits of your work. This place, madhye tishtanti rajasa, Rajagun place. And then one can go up. Urdvam, going upwards. Urdvam gachati sattva sta. There's that word sta again. Situated in sattva. Urdvam, you go upwards. But then there's beyond upwards. What's that beyond upwards? That's what's at the very, very, very top. Connecting to the source of everything. Rather than trying to be in the modes of nature, leaving that environment of the modes of nature. We're almost done. We'll go back to the verse, but this is showing consequences, ignorance, passion, goodness, and transcendence. At the top is transcendence. And you can go to the spiritual world. So here's the verse again. We'll do it one more time. Purusha prakriti stohi bhunkte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sat asadyoni janmaso. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. So this is matter and spirit in the controller of both. That's this chapter. The graduate study of chapter 2 takes us, to the platform of bhakti. But it's already thoroughly discussed in the middle 6 chapters, so this is embellishment to help us, thoroughly, clearly understand the predicament of material existence, whether it's this mode, that mode, or the other mode. It's a predicament, and there is an option. And this is Lord Chaitanya. Well, it's a painting of Lord Chaitanya. And he came to give the chanting of the holy name. And this is another nice illustration. Behind him is a nice picture of Krishna, because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, in the mood of the devotee of Krishna to teach how to be a devotee of Krishna, how to be a super devotee of Krishna. Now, we're not all going to be super devotees of Krishna, but at least directionally, his teachings and his example, how to move in that direction, and the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and how to live your life that way. Compliments of our founder Acharya, who gave this to some of us, and some of us are busy giving it to others, and some of the others are busy giving it to others. And multi-level marketing, right? So let's see if there's some discussion on Bhagavad Gita. Anything at all that you like. Now, just a comment. The temple room was full, and then when all the kids left, it was half. But now it's full again. So, welcome all of you that came, and the kids are having a nice time, I'm sure, in their Sunday school. Comments or questions? There's a question up front, right in the very front row. Okay.
Maharaj, thank you so much for the wonderful discourse here, especially emphasizing on Gita Jayanti. I was looking for a clarity on this point. When you specifically mentioned about do we have a free will, and you mentioned about sattva, the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance.
Yes.
So mode of goodness gives you more free choices, and passion is even less, and then ignorance even less. Just a clarity there. I feel the problem is when I have more free will, I create more mess up in spiritual life. So in that way, mode of ignorance promises very less freedom. So that means I don't do the chaos there.
May you be blessed with the mode of ignorance. No, you understand? I don't mean that. The mode of goodness, freedom, means making wise choices. When you make wise choices, then you're exercising your free will to do this and not do that. Mode of goodness, freedom, doesn't mean you get spanked because you have too much freedom now. It's possible. It's even common. I just gave a 13-part seminar in Madhurya Kandamani. It was really exhilarating. And one of the obstacles, one of the anarthas, is becoming an enjoyer of the fruits of piety. Piety is mode of goodness. When with mode of goodness activity comes fruits, and you get opulence. And there's 4 categories of opulence to be the enjoyer of. And the tendency, because we're in the mature world, because we want to be enjoyers, now you got more stuff. That's a problem. That's what your point is. Therefore, you need training and education, and intelligence. Where does intelligence come from? Chapter 15, Bhagavad Gita. Super soul. Make your connection with super soul, with the Supreme Personality of Godhead strong. You'll get intelligence. So then there's this opulence, and you have more freedom, and you're going to make wise choices because you're connected to super soul. The solution isn't have less choices. For some people, having less choices is good. Now the Kuvera and Manigriva became trees for 100 celestial years because they would misuse that opulence big time. And then at the end, it was a benediction. They saw Krishna, they offered prayers to Krishna, they came back to their position of being sons of Kuvera, but pure devotees. It's not like, don't have opulence anymore, don't have freedom anymore. Use it properly. Read Prabhupada's books, and there are many, many, many nice lessons, and you're not just information kind of read the books, from your heart. So let it touch your heart, and you understand how to make wise choices, because you're connected to Super Soul, and Super Soul will give you the intelligence. That's our solution. Not just have a shorter rope. Someone else. Over here?
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All good Shilbra. Thank you so much for the enlightening lecture. You mentioned how tolerance is when facing obstacles. How do we apply the tolerance that is needed when dualities appear?
Speak slowly.
How do we apply the tolerance that is needed when dualities appear? Because when there's...
How do we apply tolerance when duality appears? Because?
It's easier to apply it when there's smaller problems, but when there's... I kind of struggle.
So ask Krishna for smaller ones. And when you get bigger ones, Krishna, you need a hand to hold, like a little child needs mom or dad to hold their hand. You need someone that's wise and can guide you through that bigger challenge. Here's a teaching that I believe is true. Prabhupada said, Krishna never gives you an obstacle that you don't have the capacity to overcome. He titrates little by little, and sometimes it's like a lot, but it's never too much. So then when it looks like it's too much, your shelter taking becomes intensified. And there may be a delay. It's not like Krishna catches you when you're falling off the cliff, but it may be a little delay, like Prahlad. You know the story, Prahlad? We have a new person here that doesn't know anything about Prahlad. Prahlad was a nice little boy, but his father was the opposite. And when his father found out that he was a devotee of Vishnu, kill him. So one of the things he did was, he tried many ways, like 16 different ways to try to, and he was always protected. So one of those ways was, you've seen the painting where they're up on the cliff and they're throwing him off the cliff, and this boy is floating through the air, crashing to the jagged rocks below, and there's Vishnu waiting to catch him. You've seen that painting? It's a very beautiful painting. The commentators say Vishnu didn't show himself right away. He was there, ready to catch Prahlad, but he wanted to see what's Prahlad going to do. Sometimes Krishna wants to see, what are you going to do? When it's like, he's there. He's there to protect you and help you and etc. It may not look like it. It may feel like, oh no, but he's there. So rest assured. I'll say it again. Prabhupada said, Krishna never puts you in a situation that's more difficult than you can handle. It may accentuate your shelter taking, but that's what he wants, because you're being complacent otherwise. A little spike in shelter taking, that's good. And he's there. He's there. Rest assured. And wait a while. Practice Krishna consciousness for 55 years and see what happens. You follow what I'm saying? The tests get, it's okay. Krishna's there. Okay. Anyone else? Yes. It's the magic button on the side, not banging the thing on the top.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Thank you for the wonderful class, Maharaj. Many people do not know this philosophy. They think if I work hard, intensify my endeavor, I think I'll get it. But for them, it is an eye-opener today. My question is, along with their question, my question is, that 5 topics, 5 constituents of action.
Yes.
Desire and adhishtanam tadhakarta, that verse, different types of endeavor, and the desire of the soul, senses should be used. Then finally, the sanction of the super soul. So my question is, Maharaj, what is the role of different types of endeavor?
Say slow. What's the role of?
Different types of endeavor.
Different types of endeavor.
Plus what is the role of purity of the soul and purity of the
effort?
Effort, yeah.
Well, one thing just to add to your question, there's mercy. And Krishna isn't. As I'm thinking the best way to respond to your question, I can't help it. I'm thinking of the Madhurya Kandambani lesson, and it's similar to her question. And that is, Krishna is not obliged. So, purity, these four principles, purity is the force, then there's degrees of purity, more and less and somewhere in between. So, Krishna can save someone who is most fallen and not pure. Krishna can let Prahlad Maharaj fall off the cliff until he catches him at the very bottom, as he wishes. So it's just the essence. My response is the essence is two things. Krishna's not obliged. He's not time bound to do what we want because I'm pure, or something, or someone is pure, and so Krishna should rescue them or help them in this or that or the other way. There's no obligation from Krishna's side. Yet he does, but at his own will. Swechaya, this is the phrase in Sanskrit, and at his own time. We can Hare Krishna, but we can't Hare Krishna. And Krishna knows the purity, the barometer, very, very, very kind of pure, kind of beginner, less than pure. Krishna can be especially kind to the less than pure, and leave the person that's very, very pure out on a limb, or seeming like, where's Krishna? Where's Krishna now? To enhance the relationship. So from Krishna's side, there's no obligation. But because by nature he's loving, there's something there, and he's reciprocating commensurate with our purity, yes. But how he does that is very creative. It's not a cookie cutter Krishna. He's got to do it this way, the same time every time. Not at all. So Krishna, back to your question. There's the mercy, and then there's the effort. Let's a nice example, because we just passed the month of Kartik. Mother Yasoda trying to bind Krishna. As you were speaking, I was thinking you were thinking that one too. But she tried, and she tried, and she tried, and she wasn't less than a pure devotee. She's got maximum purity, but the rope wouldn't bind Krishna. Why? He didn't want to be bound. That's why. So swechaya, his desire and his energies prevented her from binding him. That's it. She can't bind me. Forget it. However, when Krishna saw, according to the verse of Damodar Lila, chapter 9, canto 10, he saw perspiration coming down her forehead. He saw the flowers falling from her hair. He saw the expression in her face. Her maternal affection was increased and increased and increased. So he withdrew his desire to not be bound and exhibited his mercy. When he was preventing her from being bound, it was another mercy, a different kind. So I've been thinking of your question. Commensurate to one's purity, at the same time, Krishna's not a cookie cutter supreme. He does things, in different ways at different times, even with the same person. It's just reciprocating in a loving way. And it's not like, well, you have to be Mother Yasoda to get reciprocated with. You can be, a very new person. The reciprocation from Krishna is there. It's different. We can't try to bind Krishna, forget it. Who's going to bind Krishna with a rope? But with love. So that's my answer to your question. Okay, I think we should end. So you're the MC, right? Go ahead. Do your MC thing. Go ahead. Close up shop.
On behalf of everyone, Maharaj, thank you very much for this wonderful class and your time and effort. We are really honored to hear from you, Maharaj, and please visit as much as possible. And I know there's another program that Maharaj is giving today in Devtit Prabhu's house. Prabhuji is here, and this house is very, very close, like literally 5-minute walk. And the details have been circulated and other information. So thank you very much, Maharaj, for giving that another class. Let's one more time. Let's shout. Let's express our gratitude to Maharaj for being here. Loudly chanting, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. His Holiness Sadhana Maharaj ki jai. And the prasadam is being served up.